I never thought I'd say this out loud, but here it is. I felt lonelier in my marriage than I ever did when I was single. My name's Mason. I'm 39, and I run a gym out in Austin, Texas. Been doing that for the past 15 years. I'm not one of those motivational speaker types. I'm not on social media preaching discipline or chasing clout. I just help people move better, feel better, and push through the grind of daily life. That's what I do. I fix things, tight backs, messy schedules, bad moods. But the one thing I couldn't fix was my marriage. I met Jenna at a backyard birthday barbecue back in 2012. She was sharp, sarcastic in a charming way, the kind of woman who could pull people in without trying. She worked as a school counselor, one of those people always checking in on others, but never really opening up herself unless she had a point to make. We dated for nearly 3 years before tying the knot. It wasn't perfect, but it felt balanced. I was the steady one, calm, grounded. She was the fire, passionate, and full of energy. Those first few years were solid. We laughed, went on trips, stayed out late just because. There was chemistry. There was connection. Then, little by little, it all just dried up. I can't pinpoint the exact moment. Maybe it was around year 4. That's when things really started changing. Intimacy just vanished. Not slowly. More like a light switch got flipped, and no one bothered to flip it back. At first, I figured it was work stress. She'd been dealing with a tough case, a teenager struggling with suicidal thoughts, and it really hit her. I understood. I backed off. I tried to be there for her. I'd rub her feet, cook dinner, clean up without being asked. I kept showing up, hoping the spark would return. But it didn't. Months passed. Then a year. Physical touch faded into quick side hugs and dry pecks on the lips. Sex? Maybe once a season, if that. And even then, it felt forced, like something she was doing out of obligation, not desire. I brought it up once. Tried to keep it gentle. Hey, I said, are you okay with where we're at? Feels like something's missing. She let out a sigh and replied, Mason, I'm just tired. I don't think about that stuff the way men do. It's not a big deal. I didn't push. But inside, I was starving. People think guys only care about this stuff because of the physical part. And yeah, that's part of it. But it's not just about sex. It's about feeling wanted, desired, like you matter. When the woman you love looks at you like you're just the guy who pays the mortgage and fixes the clogged sink, it guts you. I tried again 9 months later. Took her out to a nice steakhouse. Put on cologne I hadn't used in years. Did the whole thing. We had wine, laughed over dinner. For a minute, I thought we were turning a corner. When we got home, I kissed her in the hallway. She kissed me back, for about 3 seconds, then stepped away and said, I'm sorry. I don't really feel that kind of connection anymore. Just like that. As casually as if she were reading the weather. I just stood there, not even angry, just hollow. It wasn't that she wasn't in the mood that night. It was that she didn't feel anything anymore. And the way she said it, like I was supposed to be fine with it. I didn't argue. Didn't guilt trip her. I just nodded and went asleep on the couch. That became my routine. Couch cushions. Cold shoulders. Quiet dinners. And that's when Brooke entered the picture, Jenna's younger sister. She's 30, works in digital marketing, just got out of a long relationship. She needed a place to crash while apartment hunting. I wasn't exactly thrilled, but I agreed. Jenna was happy about it. They hadn't lived together since college. Brooke came in like a storm. Loud, carefree, barefoot half the time. Always had music playing from some random playlist. Talked through movies. Ate cereal straight from the box. Wore giant t-shirts around the house like she still lived in a dorm. She was everything Jenna wasn't, unguarded, outspoken, spontaneous. I kept my distance at first. Gave her space. She didn't say much, but I caught a few looks when she realized I was sleeping on the couch. Then one night, she broke the silence. You two always live like this? She asked, grabbing a beer from the fridge. I gave a half shrug. Jenna's been tired a lot lately. She raised an eyebrow. She's always tired. Even at 19, she was too tired for anything that wasn't about her. I didn't respond. Later that week, I came home around 9 p.m. Jenna was already asleep. I warmed up leftovers and sat in the kitchen, lights low, too drained to even turn on the TV. Brooke walked in wearing one of those oversized shirts. Didn't look like she had anything on underneath. She poured a glass of water, leaned against the counter, and looked right at me. So, she said, she told you she doesn't get horny anymore, huh? I froze mid-bite. Didn't even ask how she knew. Sisters talk. Whatever, I said with a slow nod. Yeah. She tilted her head a little, almost like she pitied me. Then she asked, "And what, you're just supposed to live like a monk now? Just because she tapped out?" I didn't respond. Didn't know how to. Then she stepped in closer. Her voice dropped, her eyes locked right onto mine. "Then let me be there for you." I froze. My heart was pounding in my chest, louder than any thought I could form. Every part of me knew this was wrong, completely messed up. But the way she looked at me, it had been years since anyone looked at me like that. Not with indifference, not with duty, but with heat, with hunger. I stood up and walked out. Didn't say a single word. Just stepped outside and stood by the pool in the dark, staring at the water like it might give me an answer. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was afraid of what almost happened, but because, for the first time in years, I didn't feel invisible. And that scared me even more. I never planned for anything to happen. I swear on everything, I didn't. When Brooke said, "Then let me," in that kitchen, I walked away. Yeah, my body wanted to stay, but my mind? My mind was screaming, "Get out now." So I did. I stepped out into the night and just stood there for over an hour, breathing, trying to stop the spinning in my head. I felt like I was teetering on the edge of a cliff, part of me scared to fall, part of me wanting to. But temptation doesn't disappear just because you say no once. Especially not when the one person who's supposed to want you treats you like a stranger. After that night, things between me and Brooke shifted. Not in a tense or awkward way, but charged. Like everything between us had electricity now. The way we looked at each other, the silences, even walking past her in the hallway, it all crackled. She stopped pretending she didn't want me. And I stopped pretending I didn't notice. Jenna? She didn't catch a thing. She was too deep in her own stress cloud to see anything clearly. She'd come home, drop onto the couch with takeout, then about her day, then lock herself in the bedroom, sometimes before 9 o'clock. No hug. No, "How was your day?" Nothing. It felt like living with a coworker you barely tolerated. Except that coworker used to be your whole world. In Brooke, she filled every hole Jenna had left behind. One night she made dinner. Spaghetti with garlic bread. Nothing fancy, but it was hot, on the table, with 2 plates, like that used to mean something in this house. She cracked jokes, called me out on my bad habits, actually asked me how I was. And she started wearing less around the house. Not in an attention-seeking way, just casual, but calculated. Tank tops with no bra, loose shirts slipping off one shoulder. Always barefoot. Always nearby. Then, roughly 10 days after that first night in the kitchen, Jenna mentioned she was going on a girls' weekend to Santa Fe. Spa trip with her coworkers. Said she'd be back late Monday night. No kiss goodbye. Just a distracted little wave, and don't forget to feed Rocky. That left me and Brooke in the house alone for 3 straight nights. I should have left. Could have crashed at a friend's place or gone to stay with my cousin. But I didn't. Friday night, I got home late from work, and the whole house smelled amazing: garlic, onions, red wine. Brooke was in the kitchen, barefoot like always, wearing one of those sleep shirts that barely made it past her thighs. She looked up, smiled, and said, "Hope you're hungry." I was starving for food, for connection, for someone to see me again. We sat at the table, eating pasta and drinking wine. She made me watch some old trashy reality show, and we laughed about it until our cheeks hurt. It felt easy. It felt warm. It felt like something I hadn't known in a long time. After dinner, we moved to the couch. Put on a movie, though I couldn't tell you what it was. I didn't see a second of it. My brain was a mess. That moment in the kitchen kept playing over and over in my head. Her voice, the look in her eyes. And now, sitting right next to her, I could feel the tension between us like a live wire. Then she broke the silence. "Can I ask you something?" "You don't have to answer," she said quietly. I turned to her. "Okay. Do you still think about her? What it used to be like?" I hesitated. That question was loaded. I wasn't sure if she meant emotionally, sexually, or just in general. But I gave her the truth. "Every day," I said. "Not because I want to, but because I don't even recognize her anymore. I don't know what happened to the person I married." Brooke's voice softened. "I watched her treat you like you didn't matter. I heard her say that stuff to you, and I wanted to scream. I kept thinking, if someone looked at me the way you look at her, I'd never take it for granted." Those words hit like a punch to the chest. Then she leaned in, not fast, not dramatic. Just gently, slowly. She reached up, touched my cheek, and kissed me. And for a second, I didn't move. My heart was pounding. Every part of me lit up like I'd just touched a live wire. I wanted to do the right thing, pull away, stop it, be the bigger man. But I didn't. I kissed her back. And just like that, The line I swore I'd never cross? Gone. We didn't rush it. It wasn't messy or frantic. It was slow, intentional, like two people who'd been holding back for way too long and finally let go. It wasn't just about sex, it was about holding on to something real for the first time in what felt like forever. Afterward, we sat in silence. I leaned forward, rubbed my hands through my hair, still catching my breath. She rested her head on my shoulder and whispered, "I'm sorry." I didn't say anything back, because I wasn't sure if I was sorry. I just knew I felt alive again. I barely slept that night. Every little sound in the house had me on edge. The hum of the fridge, the dog scratching, the AC kicking on. I wasn't scared of Jenna walking in. She was miles away. What rattled me was what the whole thing meant, because deep down, I knew this wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a shift, a break, a point of no return. Saturday came and went in a blur. Me and Brooke didn't talk much. I think we both needed time to process. But the look in her eyes said enough. She wasn't ashamed. She didn't seem confused or distant. If anything, she felt closer, safer, like we'd shared something that didn't need to be explained. Then late Monday night, Jenna came home. She dropped her bags in the hallway, gave me this half-hearted nod, and disappeared into the bedroom. 5 minutes later, she was under the covers, back to me, phone in hand, scrolling like she never left. No kiss. No, I missed you. Not even a hey. And for the first time, it didn't sting. I didn't feel rejected. I felt free. Because in that moment, it hit me. She stopped choosing me a long time ago. And now? I'd finally stopped choosing her too. You always hear that when you tell the truth, you don't have to keep track of anything. And that's true. But no one ever tells you how heavy that truth feels once it's sitting in the same room with you. After that weekend with Brooke, I knew we couldn't just hit rewind. Not because of what we did, but because of what it uncovered. That moment wasn't just physical. That would have been easier to write off. It was the connection, the laughter that didn't feel forced. The simple fact that someone saw me again, not as a burden, not as a chore, but as a man. I didn't feel guilt the way you're supposed to after cheating. What I felt was pain. A deep, hollow kind of pain. Not because of what I did, but because I finally understood just how far gone my marriage really was, and how long I'd been lying to myself about it. When Jenna got home that night, it was like nothing had changed. She barely looked at me, kicked off her shoes, and said, "There's a wrap in the fridge if you're hungry." That was her hello. I stood there and watched her walk into the bedroom, already glued to her phone, face lit up by Instagram or TikTok or whatever. It was like she never left, like I wasn't even there. And for the first time, I didn't follow her. I didn't ask about her trip, didn't force a conversation. I just stood in the middle of our living room, finally letting it hit me. We weren't married anymore. Not really. We were just two people living in the same house, waiting for someone to say what we both already knew. The next few days were quiet. Not tense, just empty. The kind of silence that fills a house after it's already been abandoned. Brooke didn't act weird. She gave me space. But we both felt it. That unspoken weight in the air. The thing we weren't talking about but couldn't ignore. Then Thursday afternoon came. I got home a little later than usual. Walked in, tossed my gym bag by the door, and there was Jenna, sitting at the kitchen table. Her eyes were red, her mouth tight. She was holding my phone. My stomach dropped. She didn't say anything at first, just held it up like she was holding a badge. "I saw the text," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "From Brooke. Last night felt like something I haven't felt in years. I hope you felt it too." That was it. The curtain dropped. No more pretending. No more avoiding the obvious. I didn't move. Didn't deny it. What was the point? All I said was, "Yeah." Just one word. That's all. She stared at me, wide-eyed, like she was waiting for me to break down. Apologize. Beg. I don't even know what she expected anymore. "You cheated on me," she said. "With my sister, Mason." I nodded. "Yeah, I did." She stood up so fast the chair screeched across the tile. Her hands were trembling. Her whole body looked like it was about to snap, like she was holding back a scream. "How could you do that to me?" That sentence, that one, flipped a switch inside me. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "You stopped touching me over a year ago. You made jokes about me in front of your friends. You made me sleep on the couch. You said you didn't get horny anymore, like that was just supposed to be the end of the conversation. You never once asked how I felt. Never cared. You just checked out of our marriage and expected me to sit there and rot quietly." I stepped closer, not yelling, just clear. "And now you're angry that someone actually saw me?" She stared at me like I'd slapped her. You don't get to play the victim, Jenna, I said, my voice steady. You left a long time ago. You just never packed your bags. She stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I slept on the couch again that night, but this time, I didn't feel crushed. I felt clear. The next morning, Brooke was gone. She left a note on the counter. Said she was sorry. Said she never meant to create a mess, but she couldn't stay in the house anymore. That was it. No goodbye. No idea where she went. And I didn't reach out. Part of me wanted to, but a bigger part knew the damage was already done. This wasn't about her anymore. This was about me finally standing up for myself. The following Friday, Jenna asked to talk. Sat me down in the kitchen, the same one where everything started. She cried. Hard. She told me she'd felt disconnected for years. That she didn't know how to talk about the loss of desire without making me feel like I wasn't enough. That she just assumed I'd keep waiting. I never meant to hurt you, she said. I just didn't know how to fix it. I nodded. I know, I said, but you never tried. And then I finally said the words I'd been holding on to for months. This marriage is over. You don't respect me. I don't trust you. And I can't live like this anymore. That broke her. For the first time in years, she begged. She said she'd go to therapy. Said she'd work on herself. Said we could heal together. But the truth was, I was already gone. Not physically, not yet. But emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I'd left long ago. Just like she had. The only difference was, I finally said it out loud. I filed for divorce a few days later. That was 8 months ago. Now, I've got my own place. Small apartment with wood floors and a clear view of Barton Creek Hill. It's quiet. Peaceful. Rocky lives with me, our dog. Jenna didn't even try to fight for him. The gym's going strong. I picked up some extra hours, started running boot camps on Saturdays. Being around people, watching them push through pain, it helps. It reminds me healing doesn't happen by accident. You have to choose it. Over and over again. As for Brooke, we haven't spoken since the day she left. And I don't blame her. What we did was messy. It crossed lines. It hurt people. But I'll never forget what she gave me. That moment of truth. That jolt that reminded me I was still here. Still a man. Still capable of being seen, of being wanted. And Jenna? She texted me just last week. Said she missed me. Said she thinks about me every night. Said she didn't realize how broken things were until I walked away. I didn't text back. Because now, I know who I am. And I'm done waiting around for people who forget that.